This is Gateway City Sports.
It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sports to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No!
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down. Michael for three.
Yes! She is gone!
I can't believe what I just saw.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! You believe in miracles? Yes!
You may fire when ready.
What?
Good evening, Cubs and Cardinals fans, and there's only one thing that could bring the Team of Rivals podcast out of hibernation on a Monday night. It's Monday, November 6th. I mean, look, you had to know what was happening when the news broke midday. It was so stunning that Ron was just, I mean, I don't even know how to describe his reaction at midday. When Elliot and I started to, go a little nuts. And Ron said about the Cardinals acquiring Riley O'Brien, pass. Obviously, that's not what we were talking about. That's not what got us on. What got us on is the Cardinals playing the bad guy once again and taking the former Cubs farmhand, Jared Young, now Skip. I don't know why he decided to change his name to Skip, but now he's Skip Young, apparently. Stealing him off the Cubs roster. Anyway, you can follow us on social media at Team of Rivals Pod. And for those of you who prefer to watch the show like right now, because we're live casting, we also post to YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to be sure the notifications are on so that, anytime we post new content, you can find more great podcasts and blog content, maybe, who knows, on this Gateway City Sports Network, where we are proud members. Joining me for this emergency show, we thought we were going to make it all the way to the winter meetings, but that is not the case. We didn't even make it to the GM's meetings. Those started after the news broke. So I guess technically we made it to the GM meetings, but whatever. Anyway, co-founder of TOR number 125 in the 2022 edition of C70's Top Cards on 2023 has got to be coming out sometime soon. Ron Duddle and permanent occasional guest host. You knew that tonight he would be here. You knew of course that he would be here tonight. Yeah. Because Elliot wants to gloat. You know that Elliot wants to gloat because the Cubs acted like a big boy team. The Cubs pushing around the NL Central. I know you know this because everybody and their father, right? Every millennial man. I think it's on the list of things to do now, right? Get a job, find a wife, get married, have kids. And I think in between get a job, or it might even be before get a job, is start a podcast. So everybody with the podcast has covered this already in Cubsland. But of course, we're here to give our completely not unique takes in our own unique and special way, as the Cubs have relieved David Ross of his managerial duties and stolen Craig Counsell out from under the nose of, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Elliot, I'm going to throw to you first. We're going to make Ron sit there quietly and stew in his juices because you know that he's not happy that we dragged him on here at night.
That part I'm not happy about. The news, I'm okay with it. Whatever. Go ahead, Elliot.
Counsell is now the manager of the Chicago Cubs.
Absolutely flabbergasted this afternoon. When this came across, I was like, is this one of those fake accounts that look real? Somebody paid the $8 to get the blue check. Like this isn't the real John Morside. This isn't the real, Sadiq Sharma or whatever. It's just like, yep. but it happened. And everybody had the same reaction, like, holy shit, what is going on? Like, the fact that we hear that there's this other team, it's not the Mets, and he's not going back to Milwaukee. Who's this other team? Not in a million years would I have thought that Jed would swoop in and pick up Craig Counsell for this team.
I got to tell you, I had the exact same reaction. And a couple of weeks ago, and when Ron and I were on here, we had our 2-hour marathon and we talked about everything. And I think that at some point, Craig Counsell came up in the likelihood that he was going to go to New York. And I'll admit that as soon as the Brewers gave him permission to talk to other teams, I was like, man, I'd really like the Cubs to talk to him. But I didn't want to put it out there because it'd just be embarrassing and it'd look really thirsty and desperate. And I just kind of figured it's never going to happen anyway. They like David Ross too much. Right. Gave him a vote of confidence. Shows you what that's worth.
Right.
And then even today, as it was happening, right? I told you guys I was in an event with students and I walked out and it hadn't even posted yet. As I was catching up, it hadn't even posted yet. I got Counsell's going somewhere, but he's not going back to the Brewers and he's not going to the Mets. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And there was that little bit that was like, nah, it can't be the Cubs because it would have gotten out.
Right. I would have figured maybe the Yankees got rid of Boone and they were bringing him in. You know, one of those fringe managers who was on the hot seat, and maybe they're just like, you know what? Counsell's a great manager. We've seen what he's done in Milwaukee. If we give him some support, we'll bring him in, and you know he can do that with our team, sort of thing.
And I kind of wonder, like, because some of the reporting that has come out now says that the Mets were never a serious consideration. Like nobody came close to what the Cubs offered. The Mets were never a serious consideration because he wanted them. Clearly, as badly as the Cubs wanted him, Craig Counsell wanted to come to Chicago. And that kind of makes me wonder, did this go the other way, right? Because the Cubs couldn't talk to him until his contract expired without getting permission from the Brewers. And the Brewers did not give them permission to talk to Craig Counsell, which means that this happened in the last 5 days after his contract expired.
In the fact that it remained this quiet and even the media was shocked.
So that makes me think two things. One, that kind of gives it a little credence for me that maybe Craig Counsell had his people reach out to the Cubs. And two, that's the advantage of geographic proximity, right? He didn't have to fly into Chicago to do an interview. He didn't have to take a train or anything. He could just get in his car and head south and nobody would think anything of it.
No.
And they could have a meeting in Libertyville, settle on contract terms, and, you know, suddenly Kyle Reese, with my favorite take of the day, is saying, I think all managers are bad managers, so the Counsell news means nothing to me other than, of course, fuck my life that we're going to have to hear David Ross again on nationally televised games.
Right. which is true. And on that, the other side of that coin, I do feel bad for David Ross. I mean, he got so close this last season, and you could say, and you could make the argument, Craig Counsell manages those same 162 games that David Ross manages. He probably makes the playoffs.
Yeah, probably.
That he makes those different decisions that matter, that David doesn't have that experience quite yet as a seasoned manager to make. So it's just, and the great thing about this is this tells us that the Cubs are serious this year, that this offseason they are serious. When you go out and you spend $40 million on 5 years for a manager, that there's been some discussions and some guarantees that, hey, you come to Chicago, this is our plan. Are you in? Sort of thing.
You know what? Put a pin in that, Elliot. Ron, bring yourself back on because I actually want to talk about that a little bit because I don't know that has gotten enough play, at least in what I've seen.
Well,
Just
hold on. Before you keep going, I refuse to blow past the fact that Elliot called him John Rossy, and we just went right by
Morsey? John Morsey?
It's John Morrissey, isn't he?
John
Morrissey?
Okay.
You guys don't listen to enough MLB Network and shit then, huh?
I don't listen to any.
All right. Well, I can't blame you then, Elliot, for not.
Shave Dave Sharma.
Sahadev Sharma.
Yeah.
Zaha Dave.
All right, Pete, what were you going to ask me?
Okay, so this is what I wanted to bring you on, Ron, because I mean, this is for both. This is for all three of us, but I didn't realize until Craig Counsell's salary was announced, and then I saw a comparison how woefully underpaid major league managers are compared to the other guys. Like the top managers in all of the other sports, Bill Belichick's getting $20 million. I think the lowest paid, I mean, other than, I think it was like maybe MLS, but that still was $8.5 million. Like all the guys, all of the highest paid managers in the other sports are getting double figure millions.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well,
there's college coaches that are making more than MLB managers.
Exactly.
Well, that happens in football all the time, though, guys. I mean, some of those.
And up until today, the highest paid manager was like, what was it, 5 million? 5.5 million?
Who was that? Who would that have been?
That was Torrey. And that was how many years ago? Joe Torre was
a while.
Still had the record until today. 5.5 million. These guys coach a much longer season. They coach many more games than any other league. Mm-hmm. These guys are way underpaid.
Yeah, you go all the way to the World Series. You're coaching from February to November.
Yep.
Well, MLS does exactly that, if not longer, right? Now, I know that's once a week. It's not 162 games, and there are several breaks in between. But, like any head coach or staff member or not, it's one game a week. They're still in there 6 or 7 days a week, right, in office doing whatever they're doing. So it's something we tend to overlook is because it doesn't count towards payroll, right? It doesn't count towards salary cap or anything like that or luxury tax. Yeah. So we tend to overlook what managers get paid. It is kind of a wow number, right? But then you think about a middle reliever who probably makes that, with it in their, 3 to 5 year lifespan these days. And yeah, I mean, I think most people would say that, hey, a manager is a pretty big aspect of a team, right? No, he's not on the field playing, but I mean, they set the tempo for the clubhouse, right? They're definitely, they're making the lineup card. Sometimes a team manager can make or break a young player coming up, right? That's trying to develop, and it's a super important role. It is kind of eye-opening as to what they make compared to the stars of the game, and you got to wonder how that works, right? Like I've never been in a situation where I don't believe, not that I know of. You want my reaction to the news today? I'm pretty much wearing the shirt. There you go. Oh, let me get in there.
Some bitch.
Put the shoe on the other foot. This isn't a move that the Cardinals ever make, is it? I mean, they made it with La Russa, but this isn't a Cardinals move, especially under the DeWitt ownership.
No. It's not. If you think about it, Matheny was he was technically, I guess you would say, he's an outside hire. He was a retired player, but he was obviously part of the organization before. The only time the DeWitt era has ever really done this is when they bought the team and they wanted to establish their own people, their own system. So, of course, the initial hire was from the outside, right? But you did have Jocketty along the ride, and he was there during La Russa's days in Oakland too. So it's always kind of been in the family type of thing that the Cardinals have done. Not to get into it yet, but they are looking at outside help for the front office, a special advisory role. And I don't know this individual, but
please bring in Chaim Bloom. Please do it.
That's one of the names that they did say. I guess he's with the Red Sox, right? Was with the Rays.
And before that, he was with the Rays.
Yeah. So they are looking for some outside influence or an outside voice to finally kind of infiltrate the organization. But I mean, we'll see how far they take that. I really don't know. I really don't know whether to look at this guy and think this is Mo's replacement here in a year when his contract's up, or is it, someone else. But at least at this point, they are willing for the first time. I think to your point, Pete, this is very unlike the Cardinals, like to go outside and hire a manager like this. But it is very much Cubs to go hire a manager while you already have a manager. That's very Cub.
Well, they did it when they won the World Series, when they went out and got Madden.
So my prediction is Counsell's going to join this growing list of Cubs managers former Cubs managers that we're all going to grow to hate. I'm going to hate him while he's managing the Cubs. You guys are going to hate him in his last year. It happens every single one of them. It started with Dusty. The world really loved Dusty right before that because his wristbands and the toothpicks.
You got to go back before Dusty.
Lou Piniella.
Don Baker.
Well, Lou Piniella was after.
You look at it. The Cubs alternate, right? They alternate the big name with the who?
Dale Sveum.
Right, Dale Sveum.
Yeah.
But seriously, Kim. But fine. I'm only going back to Dusty, right? Because that's what I mean. Really, none of the managers before that ever annoyed me as much as he did. And of course you've got Joe Madden, who I think most people like. Hey, he's done a hell of a job with the Rays. This under-resourced, financially under-resourced team. He's done a hell of a job. He's like a Zen master, whatever the hell he is. And he goes to the Cubs, and I hate him. I've always respected Craig Counsell. He was a overachieving player for his stature, and he was part of a couple World Series championship teams, I think, with the Diamondbacks and then with the Marlins earlier. Mm-hmm. So he was a valuable guy. Never disliked him before, not even when he was with the Brewers. I'm gonna fucking hate him now come April. I know it. So it's just gonna be he's gonna join this list of Cubs, either players or coaches that are just gonna annoy the shit out of us for a while, and we're just gonna have to learn to live with it. It is kind of exciting, actually, because there was nothing to dislike about Ross.
Yeah.
So
for you,
for me, no. But this is how it works. I'm going to hate your manager now. You're going to hate him later, and that's the way it works.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
You get to join Kyle Reese, and you get to hate him on national broadcasts again soon enough. Although the rumor is that maybe he's going to interview with the Padres. I saw that pop up right before I logged on here.
Here's a question, guys, and I don't know the answer to this. Has Bob Melvin managed since like 1963? I swear to God, this guy has been managing like. I think he
basically retired and went right into the dugout as a manager. That's what it feels like.
If we had an X following, which I don't anymore, which I can't be voted for top Cardinals on Twitter at this point. I have deactivated it. So I'm just going to exist here on our team feed.
I don't remember.
If we actually had a decent following, it'd be an excellent poll question. Has there ever not been a manager named Black or Melvin in baseball history? Because I swear to God, those guys have managed forever, and I've just heard their names forever. And I couldn't tell you 5 teams that they've ever managed, but I know they've always managed. There's always a Melvin or a Black in the league. Bud Black. That's who I'm referring to. So, I don't know. They just never go away.
Oh, I thought you were just being mildly racist.
No. Bud Black. Maybe I should have used the first name too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the way that came out didn't sound great. Sorry, folks.
So, Ron, did you know what was going on when Elliot and I just started?
No, I didn't.
Nope,
I was at the day job, and wow, I mean, you guys might have alluded to it a little bit, not as much as I thought you would. What a sneaky job done, because even the insiders in Chicago had no clue this was happening.
No.
They say he's going to make a decision, and no mention of the Cubs. Nothing. You guys might have might have that little thing in the back of your head. Well, since it's a mystery team, could be mine. But what a sneaky thing, because it is a little shocking, right? The names that always break this shit had no idea. It seems.
Yeah, and I was kind of following along Twitter when Pete had sent the first text message, and I was like, what is going on? And I after everything had kind of settled a little bit, like literally everybody had the same reaction of, oh my God, holy shit, WTF. Some of the biggest names in Chicago, Luke Stuckmeyer with CHGO, none of those guys had any idea. David Kaplan, no idea. Bruce Levine, nobody had heard anything until it was announced.
Yeah.
I mean, it just literally blew up and spread.
What makes me ask you guys this? What makes you most excited about this? Is it actually the manager themselves, right, that's coming over? Or maybe it's a combination of both. Or is it you think that this spells a pretty big and maybe surprising offseason since they're willing to do this already?
I think it's both.
For me, it's threefold. Number one, absolutely, is just bringing in a better manager, right? Rossy was a great guy, but there were clearly deficiencies in his in-game management. And also, I think part of what may have sunk him is I understand that he was trying to win games, but there was clearly a refusal on his part to give the young guys some run.
100%.
If they didn't prove themselves right out of the gate, he wasn't going to play them. And I'm sure that
Sounds
probably pissed off. Yeah, it pissed off the front office a little bit, right? Because it's not just can these guys play, can they contribute to us winning now, but we need to find out what we have because we need to know who we're going to trade this offseason or next year as we move for the World Series. And you're not allowing us to do that.
Well, and you got to think too for, right now, I mean, we're in free agency, right? I would think that this means something to some players that are out there that are pending right now. The Cubs haven't talked to yet or are going to reach out to. I imagine there are players that weren't considering Chicago, not sure which direction they're headed, and this probably changes, a few things. I would think in their mind if they're interested in joining, having him as a manager, and then hey, look, if the Cubs are sending the signal that hey, we're in this year,
we're serious,
yeah,
yep, and it goes right back to what Elliot said in the top of this show. This does send a signal to everybody. The Cubs are serious about this. You don't land a guy. It doesn't matter that you're paying him $8 million. I mean, it does matter that you're paying him $8 million a year, but still, you don't land a manager like Craig Counsell without making certain assurances to him that we're pushing in for this year and not, suffer through one more year with us. And then in 2025, we'll be good. Right.
Yeah.
He's not going to do that.
Well, I'm wondering.
And he must have gotten those assurances.
I know that doesn't work. I know it doesn't work this way. I know it doesn't. But I would just like to think somewhere where Hoyer and his staff are going, man, the Cardinals are really fucking up. Our window might be a little bit more open for a longer period of time than what we thought because they clearly have gaps, deficiencies, and they seem right now too stupid to do anything about it.
And we're going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah. The third thing that got me excited about this. You just took away the manager from the team who probably going into the season right now, as things stand, is probably a narrow favorite, but with the guys that they're losing for next year with injuries and everything, they're already hurting. And now you just stole their manager. Not just that they lost him, right? I was already looking forward to clearly Craig Counsell not being the manager of the Brewers next year. That was going to hurt them. But the fact that the Cubs got him, that gets me a little bit excited, right? You just made probably your top rival for the division a little bit weak.
What's wrong with Milwaukee just not wanting to work hard enough to bring him back after everything he's accomplished there?
I think what I've read is that they did make a very competitive offer, but whatever Jed said to Craig Counsell, he liked what he was hearing, and it wasn't just about the money. I'm sure that had plenty to do with his decision, but he wanted, after his conversations, he wanted to come to the Cubs.
See, and I wonder if this doesn't almost exactly mirror what happened with Joe, right? Joe was perfectly set up in Tampa. He's got businesses there. He's put down roots in that community and everything. He was clearly happy there. And, there's probably that thing with Joe or with Counsell that was the same thing with Joe of, I wonder what I could do if I had resources, right? I've scrimped and saved and I've cut all the corners and everything and I've done what I can do here. Imagine what I could do if I had that kind of financial power. And he had the opportunity to go to New York and for whatever reason, he didn't take it. But he saw it in Chicago. And you're right, Elliot. Was it what Jed said, or was it, him reaching out and saying, hey, guys?
I imagine the conversation was a little bit different. The timing's different, right? Like
Yeah, the timing was definitely different.
Yeah, because you had, and you're right, P. I think you're absolutely right. Like, I can work my ass off in this organization for the next 10 years, and they're always going to get me that close, but they're never going to get me over the top, right?
Yep.
2014, you had this up and coming, young Cubs team, and they were, telegraphing that they were going to be acquiring in the off season, an arm or two, and they actually did get two, right? They got Lackey and the Cardinal legend John Lester. That off season. So I imagine the conversation, the reasons might be slightly different, but I think at the core, I think you're kind of right, where this is a team that's will go all in, and we've seen them do it a few times now. That might be appealing to Counsell. Look, I'm in the Atlanta Braves of the NL Central here, always finishing 1 or 2, but getting bounced constantly in the first round. I'm going to, maybe the appeal of an organization that has shown the willingness to go all in. They've shown some balls, to acquire people. I'm sure that has something to do with it too.
Well, and he'll finally know what it's like to play a home game in Milwaukee now.
I was just about to pull that quote from Elias Schuster. Well done.
Definitely against the Cubs. Yeah, he'll know. Yep. Yeah.
All right. So, Ron, we're going to get back to it. I said that we were. Yeah, the Cardinals being stupid. Like, after saying for the last, 2 months that they were going to need to get 3 starting pitchers, that they were looking to land 3 starting pitchers to upgrade their bullpen. And I know that there are people who are saying, okay, well, you're reading it wrong. But the way I read it, the quote from John Mozeliak was, well, we're going to get 2 pitchers and then see where we're at.
Well, there is more.
Unless those 2 pitchers are
2 pitchers and go budget.
Well, so there is more context to that, right? That was I think a portion of what was said. There is more to that. That part doesn't sit. It's not going to sit well with a lot of Cardinals fans. But honestly, my expectations are if they even get to, and maybe that third kind of unknown guy that can compete for a spot, or he said split time. I think that's all you can hope for. I just don't see them getting 3 top line starters. Not in this market right now. Not when there's other teams that clearly need pitching, and a couple of these targets, at least Sonny Gray's top 3, Cy Young candidate, right? Like, so it's going to cost you, even if it's short term. He claims they're going to be back at their 2023 planned spending level, which they never reached that. So
which was what, 200 million?
200 million, or just north of that. They ended up, I think, don't quote me on this, but the end of this year, I think they were 145 million. That's after they made some deal or whatever, but they weren't near that because their plan changed, obviously, when they realized in June they were terrible. Maybe even earlier that in May that they were terrible. So the plan is to get back up to that plan 200 million. So that does show that, they've got some room there to play with, but I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not going to get overly excited about anything that was said. No, shit, you've heard me on here. I knew what they were stating, and like, good that they recognize the problem. That's step number 1. Actually doing something about it is equally as important, and that's what we haven't seen them do. Something about this pitching problem, right? So yeah, you could acknowledge it, but do you have the balls to do anything about it? And that's what we'll find out.
Well, and with how tight the market is on pitchers this offseason,
it's not like
I feel like if they have to do it right away, because I didn't see anything happening with the trade market until maybe December or something like that. But now, after what the Cubs have done, I feel like it could start a flurry of things going on.
Well, you never know. I mean, I think that you could look at it one way and like, the trade routes will open up once some of these free agents start, settling into with a new club. Maybe it opens up the trade route a little bit more. You got to think of it too. Glass half empty is, once free agents start coming off the market, you're going to be paying more in trade for whoever they're willing to deal. That's a legit starter. So I don't know that it's, look, we've seen them do this many times. I don't know. They're weird, right? Because we've seen them jump all over deals early before, like Paul Goldschmidt. I think that was started during the GM meetings when they dealt for him. They signed Fowler really quick that one year, so they can jump on things quick. They end up sometimes doing really stupid shit when they do that. But they've also, I think more years than not, we've seen them, well, let's see how the market plays out. They can't wait to see how the market plays out. If they need pitching, they're going to have to jump on it quick, Elliot. I just don't know. I've seen them pull off some pretty good deals for position players, but I think everybody's onto them now, and nobody wants to be the next ex-Rockies GM looking at, shitty deals that you've made. Nobody wants to be that guy, right? So it's going to be harder and harder for them. I think via trade, they have to go after free agency. I'll see it when I'll believe it when I see it. I can't say any more about it.
Yeah, one Marcus Stroman who is now a free agent.
Shit, sign him up. I think the Seth Lugo is a very Cardinals move. That a pitcher like that, who finally got a chance to start a little bit for the Padres, that one feels very Cardinals to me.
You don't think that they're going to be swimming in the Yamamoto Snell end of the pool?
I think they'll be there, Pete, but it's musical chairs. They're going to be the one without one, like they usually are, dealing for the top guys. So I could very well see them topping off at a talent like Seth Lugo, and that's it. Maybe they'll surprise us with the trade, but like Aaron Nola, Sonny Gray, Blake Snell, these two guys that are coming over from Japan, they're not going to be wearing birds on a bat.
I could see that the secondary guy. I'm blanking on what his name is. He's been connected to the Cubs, but there's a lefty who's been compared to Kodai Senga, who came over and actually translated well this year. I could see him being in play for the Cardinals.
Yeah, maybe, but it's not going to be
definitely not Yamamoto.
No, that feels like it's got Yankees written all over it or something else. I don't know.
Cubs.
You got to get Shohei first, right? Or do you think he was going to follow Counsell around? Right, I'm going to go where Craig Counsell is.
Yeah, maybe.
So
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I know I saw a report that said the Cubs are the one of the teams that's in for Shohei that nobody's really thinking about. But I think with the Craig Counsell hire, I think that maybe changes and sends, like we've already said, sends that signal out that they're serious about it. I mean, obviously, we know that they're linked to the Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Yamamoto, Ohtani. Now, I just heard third baseman for the Trey Turner. No,
Trey Turner?
Not Trey Turner. Oh God, what's his name? Third baseman for the Dodgers. He's he's older.
No, not Justin Turner.
Max
He's with
Muncy?
the Red Sox now.
Or Justin Turner. Yeah.
Turner.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's Red Sox.
Muncy's
Muncy's a first.
He's with the Red Sox.
Right? Is Max Muncy
And they're
a
not
third or first?
Muncy, and Muncy just extend again?
He just signed a 2-year extension, I believe.
Justin Turner. I mean, I know he's 39, but he's an upgrade. He can play both first and third.
I want him to sign Joey Votto as a.
I think that would be pretty awesome if they signed Joey Votto just for a season.
Just to piss Ron off even more.
I think when he was younger, I hated that Reds team a lot, right? Last decade. Or a decade ago. I didn't really like him too much. I mean, Joey Votto's grown on us. Like, I think of him as probably a little bit like Rizzo. Not as fun, maybe, but it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me. He spends his last year, still stays in the National League Central and plays for the Cubs. I could care less if he's.
I mean, basically, he's the physical manifestation of us on the baseball field, right? Like, God damn it, why don't you put the ball in play? Stop screwing around. I'm going to mess with you, and I'm going to walk around with the chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And I probably don't mean 75% of it, but I'm not going to let you have the satisfaction of knowing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't bother me at all.
So, which teams are going to pick over the carcass of the Padres? Because, oh my God, what a mess.
Man, yeah.
They had to take a loan to meet payroll. That is embarrassing.
How do we not? I mean, maybe we didn't see it getting that bad. How do we not expect that this was going to have to be torn down quick? Right? We all knew that. We all knew it was coming.
You look at it, right? You saw the two extremes of going all in on salary this year, right? The Rangers shocking everybody 2 years ago, getting Simeon and Seager and it ends up paying off for them.
Yeah.
And at the other extreme is the Padres pushing all in, signing all of these long-term expensive contracts. And now basically the team's bankrupt. Like, I kind of wonder if they're not going to, if that ownership group isn't going to lose the team.
Well, I think there are rules on this, right? Like, you can only go into debt
There
so
are,
much.
which is part of the reason why they're going to have to sell off all these players.
They're going to have to sell off, and that's going to be.
It's why they had to let Bob Melvin go.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be. How bad is it when you got to let your manager go, right?
It literally is.
Yeah. Well, it starts with Soto, right? Like, he's likely going to be dealt. They're not like paying him a ton, right? He'd be.
Yeah, it's like only like 30 or 33 million, I think it is.
Is it that much?
Yeah, only.
Yeah, well, we'll see who's going to take that on. I'm going to make my wild ass prediction here. It's a team that always comes in on deals like this, and you're like always scratching your head why. My prediction is it's going to be Seattle. That's what I'm thinking. It is. It's going to be Seattle.
Well, I mean, for the Padres, they're in a really difficult spot, right? Because he's in the last year of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge number. And so they're probably thinking that they're going to be able to get a haul, but nobody is going to give them a haul of prospects with that big of a salary attached and knowing that they have to trade him.
Yeah.
Right. They have to trade him because they have to get rid of that salary. And so they're not going to eat a whole lot of that. The team that makes the trade is going to have to take on a lot of that.
They're going to take on a lot of it, and they're going to give up very little in manpower for it.
Exactly. You might get the Yu Darvish trade redux, where you get 4 or 5 single A lottery tickets, and good luck with, if one of them hits, congratulations. Yeah. And that's ultimately been what has happened with the Cubs, right? They got, 4 or 5 lottery tickets, and so far it only looks like the only one who's going to hit is Owen Casey. And he was not the name that anybody was paying attention to when that trade was consummated.
Don't worry, the Cardinals will pick him up in a few years, and they don't tender him.
That's right. Skip. He's going to change his name to Chip.
Chip.
So you'll have Skip Young and Chip Casey. Very close.
Skip and Chip.
Very close.
I'm sure.
Man, it's too bad that we don't have
loving his decision to go back to St. Louis.
Yeah. We should have Gene reach out to Chip. Maybe we could get him back on here and get his take on it.
It's going to be all disheveled and full beard growing.
You know what I just thought of? Has anybody checked on Cato Kalin?
Yes, Cato is glad that he's gone.
No, seriously.
Yes, he's not a fan of Craig Counsell's because Craig is, I think it's 1-10 in the playoffs. So he doesn't mind that he's gone. But when is Cato ever happy about any Milwaukee team? If
that's true.
Yeah, they don't win. He's not.
Right. And they've clearly lost here as reflected by the Brewers owner. Everybody has read this quote, but still, I just love it. We've lost Craig, but Craig has lost us and our community. Oh, Mark, do you wonder why he left? That's your response, right? You and contrast that with what the Cubs did, right? The press release today was, David Ross has been relieved of his duties. We appreciate all that he did. He changed the culture here. He was great with his teammates and everything. And by the way, moving forward, Craig Counsell will be our manager. Right?
It was a footnote at the end. They totally
buried the lead. And meanwhile, the Brewers just completely burned the bridges. Like, who's going to want to go manage the Brewers now? Because the second you leave, your owner is going to rip into you.
I mean, they equated it to treason.
It's kind of like who was it that I forgot the owner?
It's like when Favre went to the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, no, I was thinking more when LeBron went to Miami because that owner for the Cavaliers went crazy too.
Yeah,
I forgot his name though. Dan something, right? They're all named Dan something. Every owner.
Oh my god!
It was. Did he freeze or did I freeze, Pete?
Who's that?
Elliot.
No, it looks like I froze, but can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, it was. We're gonna win championship way before Miami does. You shouldn't have said that. They got 3 pretty good players back in 2010. I think they were gonna take one of those down before you did, but whatever. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. The Cleveland Cavaliers owner reaction to LeBron leaving the first time.
Right.
Oof.
Yeah, but you got him back, so.
Yeah, he did come back and get him one. That was nice of him, right? A little consolation.
Yep.
Yeah. So here, my question to you guys, like, kind of goes with the show title that I threw up there last minute. Is all hell going to break loose? Not just because of this move, just because of some of the other ones. We have some guys that were extended QOs, others weren't. I think the most notable that I saw that would have been like JD Martinez from the Dodgers, but I'm not sure he's worth $21 million to a lot of people at this stage of his career. But several that you would expect did get extended QOs. Cody Bellinger being one from your team.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
Nothing shocking right now. But they do have some predictions on MLBTradeRumors.com of where the top 5 are going to go to. We'll see if we agree with them or not. Would you like me to read through them real quick?
Well, wait. Let's
No,
get. I mean,
wait.
you obviously know the answers. I haven't seen the article. Have you seen it, Elliot?
No, I haven't seen it.
All right. So, Ron, give us the top 5 and let us guess.
Well, okay.
Let's have this be a little game.
All right, let me guess. So, obviously, the number 1 target this year being Shohei Ohtani. What are you guys?
I'm going to say Dodgers.
Elliot.
Oh wait, actually, I should say Cubs. But really Dodgers.
Okay. Got to go with what you think, Elliot, not what you hope.
I'm going to say Yankees.
Okay.
And then probably 10 years.
All right. Well, I'm not going to say these guys' names, but they all think Dodgers are going to be the team, and that's probably what I would put. If I had to put my mortgage down on it, I'd probably say, it's probably going to be LA, right? It's nearby. It's close to, geographically a little bit closer to the home country for people to watch him. So I think that one makes sense from that aspect, but you never know. Let's see. Second on the list here. I hate these prediction games. Cody Bellinger. Why do they have him second? Whatever. This is top 50 free agents, but I guess he
top available bat. That's why.
Okay. Cody Bellinger.
Elliot,
number 2.
you want to go first?
They're saying 12 years, $264 million. So my question to you guys is who?
12 years, 200. No one's going to give him that. But I'll say Cubs.
Cubs, but really Yankees.
All right. Well, somebody agrees with you. Tim, whoever the hell he is from MLB Trade Rumors, does predict the Yankees. 2 other guys say the Giants. Giants have been looking for a bat for like a decade.
Yeah.
So maybe that holds some water there. All right. Number 3. Yamamoto. I'm not even going to try to pronounce first name. Pete, you're good at that stuff. How do you pronounce that?
I think it's Yoshinobu, isn't it?
Yoshinobu. That looks like it'd be right. But Yamamoto. So they're saying 9 years, $225 million.
Cubs. But really, Cubs.
Well, I'd love to see that. It's probably going to be Dodgers.
Giants, Yankees. Cubs have gotten no love yet on this list. All right, we'll keep going. 4. Blake Snell. 7 years, $200 million. Seems a little steep.
That one I think the Cubs would go for.
Oh, see, if those are the, well, going with the sticking with the joke, Cubs. Yankees.
No Yankees on this list. It's Phillies, Red Sox, Dodgers, which means nobody knows where the hell he's going.
Right.
Okay, last one. I don't want to go through all 50. We don't have time.
No, just top 5.
Yeah.
Aaron Nola, 6 years, $150 million.
I guess I'm first. So, Cubs. God, I have no idea.
You like those 5-inning starters, huh?
Oh yeah, love them. Actually, that's a
more
good
like
point.
Blake Snell. But
Red Sox.
Elliot?
Yeah, Red Sox.
This can't be
Philly.
that hard. Philly? They're saying Cardinals. All 3 of them are thinking this is the destination. I have to say I disagree with that.
Yeah.
But
It was kind of in the back of my head, but I didn't want to give you the satisfaction. But I said what I said.
Now that price isn't crazy. It's crazier shit. But again,
is he an ace that justifies that salary though?
I'm stretching a little bit to say he is, right? You signed him as your number 2 or 3, sure, but
especially if they're going to follow through with what Manfred was talking about a couple weeks back about reducing, or God, it was just last week, about reducing the number of pitchers you can carry on your roster to 12. If that happens, your starters are going to have to go deeper.
It's just a weird world we live in, right? Like
it is.
How 2 decades ago we're used to these guys going, 7, 8 innings pretty consistent, right? Like still had the bullpen games they were playing, but boy, anymore it's just like the line between starter
6, 7 innings, not even 7, 8, but 6, 7 innings, and now you're looking at 5, maybe 6. You're happy to get 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That
6,
line
7
between
innings was your expectation for your 4 or 5.
That traditional starter or stopper, like there's so few left. It feels like that are going to do that for you, and that line is getting more and more blurred between long reliever and starting pitcher, right? So
yep. As evidenced by a guy who picked up his option today for the Cubs, Drew Smiley.
Yeah. I read that.
You knew that was happening.
He's kind of going to, you wonder if every team isn't going to have at least one of those guys, right? A guy who can swing and, who will give you innings out of the bullpen, and every once in a while you'll pull him out to make a start, and he'll get 10 starts in the course of the season.
You know who else picked up their option today? Remaining 4 years in their deal?
Yes.
Javier
Baez. Congratulations,
98
Detroit.
million. Congrats, Detroit.
On the same day that they lost Zach Short.
Yeah.
So the countdown is almost done as far as being Major League Baseball players, because Zach Short.
No, he got picked up.
Yeah, I know he got picked up, but look, he got released by the Tigers after spending over half the season on their roster. He got released. Dakota Mekas has called it a career. And he's hoping to get into coaching. Nico Horner obviously ditched that shit as soon as he realized that he was going to be a better player than any of the rest of them. And so he said, I'm going to focus on my career and winning Gold Gloves. And Ian Happ is far more interested in making money than he is in being a better baseball player. So have fun.
But still winning a Gold Glove.
Yeah, I know. That's because left field is a terrible field.
How does it feel having the best middle infield, though, in the National League? Defensively.
Well, feels
pretty
good.
I remember those days like 2 years ago.
Although it wasn't 2 years ago, because according to all the press, this is the first time that teammates up the middle have both won Gold Gloves since 2016. So it wasn't 2 years ago, buddy.
Well, they had some up the middle Gold Glovers, but
they did, but not in the same season.
I think I'm thinking Donovan in his utility role, but that might have been last year. Edmund, but can't remember if that was shortstop or second base.
I think that was second, wasn't it?
He played both, so maybe the middle infield is just Tommy.
I think
Edmund.
he got it. I think my recollection, didn't he win it at second and nipped Horner?
He did.
What was it?
I think he did. Yeah,
because Horner didn't have enough games at second base,
right?
But it was like by 10 or something like that, because he was splitting time between shortstop and in second base.
That's what Edmund ended up having to do that year too, and he eventually became pretty much full-time shortstop. Once the organization after 4 years realized Paul DeYoung wasn't great, they give people
Paul
a lot
DeYoung's not great.
No, that's one name I'm glad I don't have to look at anymore. Same with Carpenter. Matt, not Chris.
Hey, which kind of reminds me, the old friend alert. You guys bringing back Michael Waka Waka Waka?
No, but that doesn't have Reds written all over it, or Milwaukee.
It does.
Doesn't it?
For sure.
Yeah, it absolutely does, right? He's going to be with one of those two. Mark my words.
Yep.
They always come back to the Central. Anyway. All right. Well,
God, I could see him going to the Pirates though too.
Sure, I guess. No, I don't think he's coming back to St. Louis.
I think this is going to be a wild offseason, gentlemen. If this is the way that it starts, right? A day like today, and it's not just about Craig Counsell, right? There were a lot of managerial hires today. It's just that Craig Counsell moving from Milwaukee to Chicago obviously crowds everything else out. But, Javi Baez picks up his option. The rumors are flying about Juan Soto, whether or not he's going anywhere. national outlet, I can't remember if it was The Athletic or who it was, did a poll of managers, and they said that the Cubs are the dark horse on Ohtani. Everybody thinks he's going to the Dodgers, but if there's a dark horse, it's the Cubs. I think this is going to end up being a crazier offseason than we've had in a long time.
Kind of feels that way. I'm hopefully just we're not caught up in the moment thinking it's going to be like that and it ends up just, crud the rest of the offseason. So hopefully we have a lot of stuff to talk about here, but I can't help but to feel that I'm going to have that feeling as we get past the winter meetings in December. It's going to be like, you go to a restaurant, you order a nice dinner, and they bring the wrong shit out. You order a steak, they bring you a grilled chicken. You're like, what the fuck is this? That's what I'm going to feel like mid-December, I have a feeling.
See, and contrast that, it's funny. So last year, Ron, and you absolutely nailed it. At the beginning of the season, you said, this is going to be a fun team. You guys are going to enjoy this year so much because there are no expectations and everything. Well, this year, 2024, it's going to be like going out to that 3-star Michelin restaurant. You can always count on him. It's going to be like going out to that 3 Michelin star restaurant. It better be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you got
the chefs in this, right? Nobody is out on vacation. The executive chef's there. The chef de cuisine is there. Everybody's there. You just dropped $1,000 for dinner with your best friends. This stuff better be life-changing or you're going to walk out pissed.
Nah, man. I usually feel like I just walked out of a Carlos O'Kelly's disappointed again. All right, man, get us out of here.
Oh, if you enjoyed this episode, I don't blame you. It's probably been one of our better episodes in a while. So don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review. You know how to do that, right? Tell your friends to do the same. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. And we occasionally live stream, just like tonight, on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. Be sure to check out the other Gateway City Sports Network podcasts. I'm not even sure which ones there are anymore. I know that Derek King's still going. I think That's a Winner is. Anyway, you can find Elliot on X at
TOR_Elliot.
And you can find Ron at, oh, no, you can't.
It's right there in front of you.
Account.
It's right there in front, right under Pete's chin. That's where you can find me on X.
The Team of Rivals Pod. There you go. Get in touch with us at any of those social media channels at Team of Rivals Pod. And that's it. There you go.
That's it.
Craig Counsell, manager of the Chicago Cubs. Yahoo.
Yes. All right. Well, if we have something another day like this, I'm certain that we'll get back on here and do what I hate most, and that is live streaming this show. But until then, we love you all so much. Bye-bye, everyone.